All right, I wanted to say a little more about blood glucose and diabetes. And so here I have a nice picture of the negative feedback system that controls blood glucose. And this negative feedback system is typical. It has sensors in the blood. These sensors can detect blood glucose levels. And then the control center is in the pancreas. Cells in the pancreas respond to these receptors by producing hormones. Okay, and then effectors will be body cells, liver cells, and fat cells. So if blood glucose levels rise, like after we eat a meal, okay, that's detected, and beta cells in the pancreas respond by releasing insulin and sending insulin into the blood. That will cause muscle and other cells to use glucose as an energy source, and it'll cause them to convert excess glucose into glycogen, into storage form, and it'll cause the liver to make glycogen and fats, as fat cells as well will make fat. And all these things will take blood glucose and reduce it so that the normal levels are restored. On the other hand, if between meals blood glucose falls, other cells in the pancreas will detect that, and the pancreas will start producing glucagon. Glucagon will cause the liver to start taking glycogen that it had stored before and converting it into glucose and releasing that into the blood. At the same time, body cells and fat cells will respond by fat cells will release fats, and body cells will use fat as a source of energy. Okay, and so this is a negative feedback system that's controlling blood glucose. And there's two signals, insulin and glucagon. Okay, in diabetes, diabetes is one of the most important endocrine disorders that affects us, and one of the most important of any conditions for Americans. It affects over 25 million Americans, almost 1 in 11. It is the leading cause of amputation and the leading cause of blindness. It is the most expensive pre-existing condition. You're going to need treatment for diabetes for almost the rest of your life. It's also a major risk factor for heart disease and stroke, and on average, it will reduce the life expectancy of a person by almost 10 years. There are two causes of this. The first cause is type 1, and this is sometimes referred to as juvenile diabetes. This is caused by an autoimmunity, that cells of the immune system begin to attack the pancreas, and they eventually remove all the cells that produce insulin. And so the person will have to take insulin by injection for the rest of their lives. Type 2 diabetes, or adult onset diabetes, is different. It's caused by insulin resistance. The pancreas still produces insulin, but cells just don't respond to it. This is the more common type of diabetes, and this is the one that has increased rapidly in Americans. For type 2 diabetes, the most important risk factors are age, being overweight, particularly being obese, having a diet rich in sugars and fats and a sedentary lifestyle, and then a family history and genetics of diabetes. Okay, and so diabetes here, those are these symptoms. Because we have these problems controlling blood sugar and our cells can't use glucose, we wind up being tired. Our immune system doesn't work. We lose lots of fat. There's lots of water and sugar and salt loss in the urine. People are hungry. Blood pressure falls, so they can't function in bed. Their vision blurs. They're subject to infections, including vaginal infections. Their nerves don't work, so they have numbness in their hands and feet, and they're always thirsty. A really important connection here is that there is a strong correlation between diabetes and the risk of obesity, risk due to obesity. And we think there's possibly two reasons for this. One is that fat tissue secretes several hormones that influence hunger and insulin sensitivity. Fat can actually reduce insulin sensitivity, and so if you have a lot of fat, this is why type 2 diabetes is likely. Fat also stores several endocrine disrupting chemicals, and these tend to be higher in people that have diabetes. So we don't know for sure what causes diabetes, There's lots of people who are overweight and don't have diabetes, and there are people who are thin and do get diabetes. But in general, there's this strong correlation. Okay, I hope that helps.